All right, so we are moving on with Unit 7, which is talking about graphing and solving quadratic equations. On Friday, we started this and talked about when things were set equal to 0. Today, we're going to jump into the next part when they're not set equal to 0. And this adds one very small step right in the beginning, which we will talk about in just a second. So, when you're solving a quadratic, it has to equal 0. So the very first thing you have to do, no matter what, if it does not equal 0, if it equals something else, you need to move that piece to the other side. So you're going to do that and make sure that the x squared term is positive. So in this case, x squared is positive. We want to take this and move it to the other side using opposite operations. Once you've done that, you're going to solve and check the exact same way that you did on Friday. You're going to have to factor some more. So like I said, this is going to come back over and over again. You need to make sure you're getting good at factoring. So looking at this first problem, x squared minus 11x plus 19 equals negative 5. Again, the first thing we want to do is take that negative 5 and move it to the other side. So it's a negative 5. We undo that by adding 5 to both sides. The only thing that we can combine this with here is the 19. So we're going to end up with x squared minus 11x plus 24 now, and it's equal to 0. So now you're at the same place that we were the last class, where you can take this and you're going to break it up into two sets of parentheses. The fronts are going to be our x's, and then we need our factors of 24 that can add or subtract to negative 11. So the factors of 24 you can do in your calculator. 24 divided by x, and then second graph, to give you a table that'll look something like this. And you need to look up and down this list and figure out which of these can be put together to give you negative 11. So negative 3 and negative 8 will do the trick. So we want to have x minus 8, x minus 3. It would not matter if you switch their places. You just have to have a minus 8 and a minus 3 in there. Now you're going to go ahead and do what's called our t-bar. So you're going to make your t, and you're going to set each side equal to 0 to make it a simpler problem. So we have x minus 8 equals 0, and x minus 3 equals 0. And then you're going to solve each of those individually. So we're going to solve this, and we're going to solve this. So we'll add 8 to both sides of that one and get x equal to 8. And you're going to add 3 to both sides over here, and you're going to get x equals 3. So our two answers here are going to be x equals 8 and x equals 3. This next problem is a little bit different. You'll notice it looks simpler because there's a lot less pieces to it. We have negative x squared equals negative x. So what we want to do here is, since this is a negative, we want to move it to the other side. So we're going to take this piece and we're going to bring it over here by using a positive x squared. So what will happen is these two will cancel out, and we'll be left with 0 equals x squared minus x. And this could say x squared minus x equals 0. It doesn't matter which side the equals 0 is on, it gives you the same result. So what we need to look at here is, how can we factor this piece? Well, it's not a trinomial, so we can't use our trinomial method. So we should always look and see, is there a GCF we can take out of here? Well, x squared and x does have a GCF, which is going to be x. And then we need to ask ourselves, okay, what are our leftovers going to be? Because we have to put those in the parentheses. Well, if we take an x out of here, we'll be left with x. If we take an x out of here, we'll just be left with 1. So we'll have x minus 1. And now again, this looks a little bit different, but you're still going to do the same thing. You're going to t-bar it. So instead of having two sets of parentheses, we have a piece on the outside, and then we have our parentheses. So our t-bar is actually going to go right down the middle here. And then we're still going to take both pieces and set them equal to 0. So we'll have x equals 0 on this side, and we'll have x minus 1 equals 0 on this side. Now to solve them, this makes it really easy, because this one is already done. And over here, we're just going to add 1 to both sides. So we'll end up with x equals 1. So our two answers to this are going to be x equals 0 and x equals 1. So you need to pay attention make sure that you're looking for GCFs. Then you're looking to see if it's difference of perfect squares, and then you're going to factor a normal trinomial like we've been doing. So what you are going to do now is work on questions 3 through 8 in your packet. And if you get to that, then you'll work on question number 11. The answers will be put up here for you, and you can pause the video to look at them. Because I'm not concerned about whether you have the right answer on your page or not. You need to have the work that can get you to that correct answer. So right after I talk about the homework, you can just pause the video and leave the classwork answers on the board. So your homework tonight is going to be the day 6 worksheet that was in your folders. It is more factoring. And tomorrow you're going to have a short quiz on graphs of quadratics, which we did last week, and then factoring quadratics that are equal to 0. So not the stuff today, just the stuff from last week. Okay? So here are the answers. You can leave this up so you can check them as you're going. And I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you tomorrow.